Hello, my friends. I am so glad you can be here with me today. This video, I am going to be talking about my experiences with the homeless community. First of all, I want to tell you when I first went to the homeless shelter with to assist my friend, the pastor. I met several people, and I met this one couple that were very, very young. I guess I was 38. Well, this couple was in their 20s, and they had a foot ministry. Now, what I mean is mainly it was older men. The older men that were homeless sometimes didn't have shoes, sometimes had really bad shoes that caused problems with the feet, medical problems, that they would come in, and this couple on certain days would come and they would wash their feet, just as Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. This girl told me one time that she was washing this older man's feet, and his toe fell off. It had been frostbitten, and his toe fell off in her hand. I want you to know that grossed me out completely. And I told God I would never, ever be willing to do something like that. And his answer to me was, that will keep you humble throughout eternity, your unwillingness to do this. I'd also like to share this very long relationship. It probably was a 10-year relationship with this young man, or even longer. He was actually, I met him actually through one of my sons, and they were in high school together, and he seemed very normal. He could carry on an entire conversation. Seemed a little off on certain things, but nothing really bad. Well, this young man kept sniffing paint, and it was evidently killing his brain cells. He got to the point that he could not hold an entire sentence. We had this routine. Every now and then, every 2 or 3 weeks, he would show up. He didn't come into my house. I didn't ask him to. I had a outside table and chairs in my front porch. And so he would come over, and if I asked him, gave him a choice of sandwiches. I always fixed him sandwiches. First thing I would do, he loved Dr. Pepper. I would give him a Dr. Pepper. We would sit there. If he could hold a conversation, we would talk. If he couldn't hold a conversation, I would do all the talking. And then after a while, I would ask him, do you want a sandwich? Well, of course, he was always hungry. He walked the streets. He was homeless. And if I asked him, would you like ham or turkey? It would absolutely throw him off, and he could not answer. And then I'd say, it's okay, I know what you want. And I would just go fix one or the other. I ended up finding out his very favorite lunch meat was pickle loaf. I like pickle loaf too, but that was his very favorite. And if I had any, that's what he always wanted. And so I would give him a sandwich and chips and another Dr. Pepper. Then we'd sit there another 30 minutes or so, either talking or not talking, and I'd give him another Dr. Pepper. Now, many of you may think this is horrible, but it helped the relationship I had with this young man. I would ask him, "You're wanting a pack of cigarettes, aren't you?" And of course, he definitely always was. So I would give him enough money for a pack of cigarettes, and at that time it was $3, and I'd give him another Dr. Pepper and he'd leave. We had this routine. Well, one day he showed up and he had gotten on SSI. And so I thought, there wouldn't be any worries about him anymore. His mother very seldom had anything to do with him. Well, once he got SSI, I guess she let him come and stay with her a little bit. And it was Christmas time, and she took his money and threw him out on the streets. And he showed up at my house. Well, I started calling different shelters, and no one had an opening but this one in another little town from me. And so I took him, and they let him come in and stay, and they were going to let him stay because they knew on the 1st they could get his Social Security for his expenses. And I'm going to admit this wasn't my favorite place, but what this place does is it gives them a place to sleep and eat, and they give their meds to them. Those that have mental disorders, if they have medication, they will give their meds to them, and they stay stable. Well, 2 months after I took this young man there, the state closed every one of these facilities down. Now, do I think it was a great facility? No. Did I think it was an extra clean facility? No. Did I think it helped people? Yes. And there was another one downtown that really helped those that had serious mental issues and that were on a lot of medication. It closed them down. So in one day, our state closed every one of these facilities down. And what happened to all of the people? They all went on the streets. Some are very dangerous if they don't have their medication. Some will be abused by others. They will be bullied and abused, and if they have money, taken away from them. Walking on the streets is a whole different culture than anything that we know. This just saddened my heart that our state would do this. But Nathan would still find me. He couldn't remember his mother's address, but he always remembered my address. And he came over to me once, and I had a very young, pretty teenage daughter. And he said he had lost his mother, and he wanted me to help him go find her. Well, number one, this young man looks very, very, very scary. I mean, if you saw him on the streets, you would go across the street. He just had this very, very scary look and mannerisms at times. So I gave him his Dr. Pepper. I came in and I was fixing his sandwiches. And I told God, I said, God, I need to know how much protection I have. I'm going to have to put my daughter in the car with me. This young man could, attack both of us. Or my daughter. Many things could happen as I'm trying to help him find his mother. And I said, I need to know reality. I don't want to hear what half of these people say. I want to know from you, God, reality. And I said, I'm going to give you two examples. And one was a therapist was killed by her client and stuffed in her trunk of her car, and they had just found her. Also, God, there is a ministry, a person in the ministry that was on foreign soil. I can't remember which one. And she was killed. I need to know the truth. And God said, you are completely covered with my protection if I assigned you to that person to work with them. He said those two people did not, they were not on assignment. They just went and did what they feel like they should do. And he said, you are on assignment with this young man and you will not be hurt. So I got my daughter and told her we were going to take this young man to help find his mother. And we got in the car and I don't think we ever found his mother's address. He just could not remember where she lived or her address. So we came back home, nothing happened, and I gave him his Dr. Pepper and cigarette money, and he went on his way. Well, this went on for years, and at the end of this, after this time of helping him find his mother, I was very worried that he would come to my house while I was working and harm my daughter. So I went to God and I asked God to be released from the assignment of him. And God immediately released me. And this young man has never been back, and it's been 15 years. I pray for him often. I did get a poem on his behalf. And the poem is, I look up above, and what did I see but a beautiful angel looking down at me? She took a hold of my hand. Together we went to this beautiful land, a land of peace, a land of love, a land where there is no money. No, I'm sorry. Let me start over if you don't mind. I looked up above, and what did I see but a beautiful angel looking down at me? She took a hold of my hand, and together we went to this beautiful land, a land of milk, a land of honey, a land where there is no money, a land of joy, a land of love, a land of peace, my land. I thought that was beautiful. I received this poem long before I asked to be relieved from the assignment. There was only one other assignment that I asked to be relieved of, and God immediately did it. It was when my ex-mother-in-law lost her mother. I considered my ex-mother-in-law my substitute mother. She taught me everything. She taught me how to cook. She taught me how to clean. She just taught me everything, and she cared for me when my own mother did not. So I loved this woman with all of my heart. Well, she was not a Christian. And God was having me do things like do some artwork that had her mother in it, walking in the streets of heaven with this beautiful purple tree that had these purple hanging flowers or fruit. Then he had me hire an artist to draw Jesus with his arm around her mother. And I would give her these things and tell her what God said. She resented me for it. She did not believe in God. She wasn't ready and willing to believe in God. And our relationship got worse and worse and worse. And I finally asked God to relieve me off of the assignment. My ex-mother-in-law did go and a year later or so found a church. She became very involved with the church, and she was there for probably 15 years before she died. And she was a very godly woman after she started going to this church. So I want you to know that there are times that I just don't feel like I can do what God asks. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I just don't want to. And I will tell God no. If I do not tell God no and I just delay his request, I will eventually do it. Right now, I am behind on 3 gifts he has asked me to give to 3 of his children. And I should have done this a long time ago. And I am very, very late on doing this. I think about 2 years. And I will try to get that done in the next month. So I want you to know I am so glad you were here with me. And I want God's health and wealth just to rain upon you. And go have some fun. We all need fun in our lives. I will see you next time. Goodbye.